Welcome to Bet On It. I am Kelly Stewart. It is NFL Week 14. I have no idea where football season has gone or how the hell we got here. Maybe I should have stayed at home at least one weekend and I would know the answer to that question. Headed to Philly this weekend. Going to be at the Barstool Samson Bar with our producer Dan. And as his punishment, I'm going to take him to the Eagles at Giants on Sunday with our good friend Ariel Epstein. So if you guys in the area, let us know. Come have a drink and say hi. Go Giants. Marco D'Angelo, Joe Raineri, welcome in. Gosh, I just don't know what's happened to my life over the last 15 and a half weeks or so, but here we are. Marco, I asked you Monday how your week was, but so far, great NFL season by you. What are we looking forward to for the next 4 weeks?
Well, this is the crunch time, Kelly. Everybody is jockeying for a playoff position, trying to make the playoffs. Going to have maybe a sub-500 team in the playoffs in the NFC South. It's fun times, but nothing compares to you. I mean, Kelly, you say you're jetting all over the place. You did 3 games in 3 days. And, I've never done that. The closest thing I've come to was 3 different horse races at 3 different tracks in 3 days. I've done that circuit, but 3 football games, God bless you. And your liver is probably not happy with you at the moment either.
Listen, my liver is fine. It was my voice that when I lost it halfway through the K-State game on Saturday, I thought, oh boy, it's going to be a long weekend. But glad I'm here so you guys can hear all the raspiness here on Bet On It. Joe, we got 4 weeks left for you to pick tons of first half unders and first half plays. I know you've got a few of us dug up this weekend. What are you looking at for the next 4 weeks?
Well, kind of like you, I'm going to be jetting out this weekend. I am going to be at the Bills-Jets game here on Sunday. So I will be rooting on my Jets in front of Bills Mafia. They can all kiss my no, it should be an awful lot of fun. And it's going to be a pleasure sitting in there and watching the Jets upend the Bills for the second time in the season here. So it's going to be a little cold, but we're going to be inside here, so I'm good for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Shots fired. I will be on that divisional under as well as the under in the game that I'm going to. Exactly. But let's talk about some primetime games instead. We got to play Thursday night football before we can get to Sunday. The Las Vegas Raiders now a 6-point favorite, total 44.5. At the LA Rams. A couple of question marks for the quarterbacks here in LA, Marco, and that's probably going to lead me to stay off of this game, but I want to know your thoughts on Thursday Night Football.
Well, my thoughts are at the beginning of the season, I'm sure on paper this looked like a very intriguing matchup, but it sure as hell isn't anymore. The Raiders are trying to desperately make the playoffs. The Rams, what can you say? This has just been a totally lost season. They've fallen Stafford, Darnold, everybody, injury after injury, Cooper Kupp. You go from the Super Bowl to be out of the playoffs as early as they were. That's a bad situation. But as we say so often, when you play on prime time, that's your Super Bowl for the season, except this team was just in the Super Bowl. So I don't think they will think that this will anyway compared to being in the Super Bowl. So I can't play the Rams with your money. With that said, do I want to play the Raiders laying points on the road? No, probably not either. So what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to look to the total in this one. And unlike my esteemed colleague that I don't know if he is just being efficient or just too damn lazy to play the whole game, I'm going to take the total for the whole game, and I'm going to go under the total in this one. And I think that the only chance the Rams have in this game is to shorten the game. And if you're the Raiders, once you do get the lead, you want to protect it. So you're going to see a lot of Josh Jacobs. Also, for the Raiders, if they do get a lead, you think they might just possibly be looking a little bit down the road. You could call this a sandwich game. You don't whenever you're playing the defending Super Bowl champs, but they are coming off a division rivalry against the Chargers. They have this game on Thursday night, which that's another reason that you wouldn't think they would look past the game. But for Josh McDaniels, Daddy's coming to town next week. That's right. Bill Belichick's coming to visit the Raiders, and you know Josh McDaniels will be looking forward to that game. So for me, I think the Raiders are going to want to get in and get out. I'm going to look to the under 44.5 for me.
All right, Joe, come on in and give me your first half under.
Well, you already know that. So, we've got either Bryce Perkins, if I understand it's great. We have the rookie Bryce Perkins on a short week, or we have their newest acquisition, Baker Mayfield, who is reading the playbook on the airplane out west. So either way, this is atrocious, this game, on so many levels. I do think we see this, it's like kind of what a pattern with the Raiders now, right? Last year, turmoil, coach is gone, backs are against the wall, season on the line, and what did they do? They played their best football at the end of the year in order to give themselves a chance to get on through. We're kind of seeing that again right now. This is a much different Raiders team the last 3 weeks than anything we have seen prior. Devontae Adams is an absolute beast. They're running the ball as good as they've run it all year long. The offense is humming along. It's a terrible spot for them. There's no way I can pick a side. The only thing I would consider in this one is the first half under, because I think, especially if Bryce Perkins is going on a short week, I think points are going to be tough to come by, to say the least here. But the only way I would look is possibly tease the Raiders down to a pick 'em. I do think they're going to win this game. Do I trust them to win by a touchdown or more? No, absolutely not. But I do think the Raiders are going to win this. So I would consider the Raiders in some teasers, but that's about it.
That scares the ever-living hell out of me. I hate teasing 6-point favorites. Woo! We'll get to the teasers here a little bit later on. Let's go to Sunday night. Miami -3, total 51.5 at the LA Chargers. Joe, I'm going to go to you first here. This is a tough one. I went back and forth, and I ultimately just said, you know what? I'm not touching this one. We got flexed into the night spot. Chargers catching points at home seems rather fishy.
Interesting stat with this, too, I believe. If I'm correct, I heard that since Herbert has become the starting quarterback for the Chargers, whenever they have been a dog in a game, if you had teased the Chargers, you'd be 16-0 right now, which is interesting here, which makes sense. I mean, Herbert's always going to give you an opportunity to make up the difference there, because you're usually coming from behind. So, but that's not where I'm going to go in this game at all. I'm going to go with the fact that we just learned today, and I've been listening and hearing to all the beat reporters locally. Tua, he ain't practicing this week. Jalen Waddle, maybe a game time decision at best there, not 100%. Teron Armstead, also, they were hoping they might be able to get him back in on the offensive line. Not so much. So there's a lot of question marks regarding this Dolphins team after a very physical game there against the 49ers. Now they're back. They're still out west here in this spot where we might not have them 100%. Listen, the one thing we know is that the Dolphins, they are going to run the ball better than they did against the 49ers, against this Chargers team. The Chargers, they need to run the ball better in order to be able to give themselves some opportunities to be able to take shots downfield. They are still not 100% on either side of the ball. I think everyone is anticipating this to be a very high-scoring game, over to 51, 52, 53. And I think they'll eventually get there, Cal, but I don't think we're getting there until the second half. So at 26.5, yep, that's right. You guessed it. I think a lot of running from Miami early, especially if the injury report comes out and they are limited across the board. I think the running game is going to be the difference for the Dolphins. I don't think they're going to come out there and drop a hurt Tua. They're not going to drop him back 50 times in this game. I think they're going to go and make an effort to establish the run against this Chargers defense. I think the first half under 26.5 is the best bet here in this game.
Marco, as the only guy that reads the comments on YouTube, what do they say about Joe and all of his first half plays?
It's comical. Some guys say, who bets first halves? And then you get 5 guys come in and chastise them.
Yeah.
I
bet first half. I gave out the game under in Tampa on Monday, but you think I didn't bet Joe's first half? I absolutely did. It wasn't my play to give out, but when he texts the group, take the first half under, I absolutely did. And then, of course, I missed Andy Lang's first quarter under.
Oh,
you know, Andy's
That's
really
right.
good lately, Marco, about texting me and Ariel right afterwards and going, "Did you guys take my first quarter under?" No, Andy, I missed it. Okay, you gotta send it to me early in the week, buddy. Anyway, I hope Andy's recovering nicely from his eye surgery. Marco D'Angelo, your thoughts on Sunday Night Football?
Well, apparently there's nothing wrong with Andy's eyes because he at least texts you and Ariel. I don't get any text, so I don't know.
You're in the Bet on It group chat. You're in the Bet on It group chat. So is Ralph, but Ralph's really bad at it. At least he has an iPhone now, okay?
All right. Looking at this one, I can't really disagree with Joe about the first half, trying to fill each other out, try to keep it a low-scoring game. The problem is one of these two teams is going to get separation, and that's going to change the game flow. And last week, Miami got held to 17 points, but they were going against the best defense in the NFL in the 49ers. They were held to 17 points. Prior to that, this Miami offense scored 30, 39, 35, 31. Yeah, that was against Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, and Houston. Where's the Chargers defense line up in comparison to those teams? I think you're going to see points, and what happens with Justin Herbert is he's got to match the scores. That's why they're always coming from behind, because the Charger defense can't stop anybody. The winning team in this game, I think, is going to be in the 30s. Well, if they're going to be in the 30s, I know the other team's going to be in the 20s. That adds up to over more than 52. I'm going over the total in this one. I think both teams will have success moving the football. And for the Chargers, they're hanging around. They're sitting there at 6-6 trying to sneak into the playoffs. They need this one. And, for Miami, maybe they do take it easy in this one. They got a big game next week. I'm sure you're aware of that one, Joe. They play the Buffalo Bills next week. So tough spot for them, having to play the 49ers, the Chargers, and then Buffalo. 3 straight road games, 2 straight on the West Coast. And then after spending all that time in sunny California, what do? You get to go to Buffalo in December. Yeah, somebody doesn't like Miami with the scheduling gods, but I'm going over the total, Kelly, Sunday night.
Keep an eye on that
All right, it
injury
sounds like
report.
everybody's in agreement with the game total going over. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, it's time to see the stat, Daddy.
First time tuning into WagerTalk TV? How would you like a one-day all-access Picks Pass for only $1? Well, we have you covered. Bet On It gets 100,000 plus downloads, views, and listens each and every week across all platforms. From YouTube to Spotify, from Apple TV to iHeartRadio. So there's a good chance this is the first time you are tuning in, and an even better chance that you have not experienced the professional handicappers at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. And we want to change that. Whether you are new to sports betting or just tired of the game of the year and 100-unit locks, we have you covered. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys, as you won't find that here. As the most popular show on WagerTalk TV, we would like to offer all Bet On It viewers that have not made a purchase at WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo.com this special offer. Use coupon WIN1 on a $39 one-day all-access pass and get it for only $1. So to all first-time users, just use coupon code WIN1 to get your first ever purchase at WagerTalk or SportsMemo for only $1. And welcome to the family.
Welcome back to Bet On It. Now it's time to head on over to see our good friend, the stat daddy, the guy with the pen for all the TNA, Mr. Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. Ralph, and we're going to start off with a tweet from a viewer. Talk to me about what our first question is.
Kelly, this is obviously not a big sample size, but a couple people reached out about teams off a tie. So I've called you out a few times to guess whether it's a positive or negative. So if teams are off a tie, do you think the team that was the favorite is in a positive role? And do you think the team that was a dog is in a negative role, or vice versa?
Ooh, Ralph, that's always a good one. I like to fade myself on these because my logical sports bettor brain tends to be wrong, but I am not going to fade myself this time. I think that you would expect as a favorite to win. So a tie is a negative, but as a dog, a tie is a positive.
Yeah, again, a small sample size, but it is very nice when you have that logic and it does pan out. Teams off a tie, if they were a favorite, have actually gone 4-12 the next game. That is only 25% against the spread. It is a little bit of a unique situation because that's Washington that's on a bye this week. Teams that were a dog and are off a tie, like the New York Giants, have gone 10-6, 62.5%. So nothing that we're going to bet on, but the logic, Kelly, that you did talk about did hold true with teams coming off a bye.
So, little tidbit, I'm going with our producer Dan and Ariel Epstein to the Eagles-Giants game on Sunday. I hope there's a lot more TNA that backs up the Giants +7. We'll leave it at that.
Well, unfortunately, I don't. But the first two, I have one trend for me and one trend for my son, and they both apply to the same game. And we've talked about this in numerous situations. When we have two situations that are completely unrelated, both fading the same team, it certainly grabs my attention. First, if you are off a home dog win, you have a win percentage above 50%, so you're a winning team, and you're a favorite. I throw out weeks 1, 2, and 3 because you could have a win percentage over and not be a winning team. So from week 4 on, you had to win as a home dog like Cincinnati did. You have to have a win percentage over 50% like Cincinnati has, and you have to be the favorite this week like Cincinnati is. I would think that's a positive situation, but it's not. Teams in that role have gone 42-75, 35.9% of the time. Only one team applies that week. That says to fade Cincinnati. So again, week number 4 on, off a win as a home dog, you are a winning team with a win percentage over 50, and you're a favorite, 35.9%. And my son gave me this one. It applies to the same game. We don't often get 5% ATS records, Kelly. This record is 1-18 against the spread, going all the way back to 2017, so it obviously doesn't happen very often. You're a division opponent with double revenge. You're a favorite of 6 or more, and you're off a non-division game as a dog. So the Bengals were off a non-division game against Kansas City. They've lost each of the last 2 times to the Cleveland Browns. They're currently a 6-point favorite. So teams in that role have gone 1-18 against the spread. That is 5.3%. 3 more situations, but really only 2 because one is a subset. The Baltimore Ravens won an ugly game at home with a quarterback injury. Now, again, you have to justify to yourself if this system applies because of the quarterback injury. But teams off a home win that scored 10 points or less, this goes back to 1999. Those teams have gone 33-17, 66% against the spread. If those teams off a home win that scored 10 or fewer points are now a dog up to 7 points, you have gone 18-5, 78.3%. So the first system is 66%. In the second part of the system, we're making them a small dog up to a 7-point dog. Those teams, like Baltimore, 18-5, 78.3%. And the final one, this applies to a fade against the Tennessee Titans. You're a home favorite of 3.5 or less. You're off an away loss, and you were trailing into the third period. So you were trailing the second half of the game. You were trailing going into the fourth. You lost the game, and now you're a small home favorite. Those teams like Tennessee, 16-38, 29.6%. So the first two systems say to fade the Bengals. The next system and the subset were to play on the Ravens. And the fourth system said to fade the Titans. And remember, thank you, Jeff. Follow him on Twitter at JMSportsCLE, and you can find his selections over at sportsmemo.com.
Ralph, I'm tired of arguing with people on the internet. And you've got a nerd chart almost every single time I need you to back me up. So this weekend, I'm at a game, and I was trying to explain the significance of 3 in the NFL. And obviously, the game I went to landed 1. Since that extra point has been moved back, we've seen some key numbers kind of shift positions. 5's no longer dead. But there's still one number that reigns supreme in the NFL. Talk to me about it.
Well, Kelly, I'll bring that chart back next week for those people about key numbers and what percentage of games fell on 3 and 7 and 5 prior to the extra point and since the extra point move. So pay attention to next week's show for that. Well, should you buy on 3? Should you buy off 3? That's always the question. So the chart has 3 phases. Overall, since 2018, the middle section is home teams. The bottom teams are away teams. So overall, you see, if the line is 2.5, it falls on 10, 9.7% of the time. Well, you're not going to buy onto 3 and lose juice, but it's important to shop because almost 10% of the games do fall there. So there's a big difference between shopping 2.5 and 3. If you're laying 3, how many times does it land on 3? Only 6.9%. It's a very low percentage. But if your line is 3.5, it lands on 3 12.9% of the time. So if you're laying 10% and you have a difference of over 10%, that is a positive, which actually gives you a situation where if you are only laying 10%, I'm going to say it is not a negative to buy 3.5 down to 3. In fact, it's showing a profit of 2.9%. Down below, you see the 2 other greens, home and away, and you see it's almost the exact same percentage. At home, when you're laying 3.5, it has landed on 3 11.9% of the time. And if you're an away favorite of 3.5, it's landed on 3 12.8% of the time. So those are negative. I do want to point out that when you're at home and you had a 2.5 line, it's landed on 3 11.9% of the time. So it is very important to shop to try to get that minus 2.5. I don't need to tell you that. If you bet any NFL games, you know that's a must. But short and sweet, if you're laying 3.5, it is actually okay since 2018 to buy it down to 3 as long as you're only laying the 10%. I will throw this chart on Twitter at CalSportsLV so you can take it to the bar and prove that guy sitting next to you that's arguing that he is wrong.
I love it. I love those big sample sizes, Ralph. It is always fun to feel a little bit smarter than the person next to you. Make sure you guys are following Ralph on Twitter. Feel free to tweet him if you guys have a question. But for now, Ralph's got to go bye-bye because it's time for me to argue with Joe and Marco about those teasers. I believe it's week 3 that we've making money now finally on this teaser segment, Marco. It was a rough go. Even some guys on Twitter were giving me grief about wanting to axe this segment, but here we are. I'm teasing the Vikings and the Ravens this week. I'm not overthinking it. Easy peasy, divisional road dogs, just like Ralph Michaels told me.
Yeah, Kelly, you wanted to take your ball and go home after the first couple weeks, but you can't do that. The further you go into the season, the sharper the lines are, which means the more important those extra 6 points are.
Does anybody in the comments realize that Marco is just now sharing this information week 14? Do you know how much money I lost the first 6 weeks betting teasers?
I knew it was coming.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Marco. Who's your teaser for week 14?
Well, this one is no mystery either, as you said. The Baltimore Ravens, the minute they became the underdog in this game, I had to tease them. I don't care if Joe's quarterback in the Ravens. When the Ravens and the Steelers line up, it's going to be less than a touchdown result. That's just the way it is. And that was with some really good quarterbacks and sometimes where you had backups in. I'm just going to follow that suit here. We got a total of 37, Kelly. This may be one of the lowest totals we've seen this season of 37, and we're getting an extra 6 points. Yeah, okay, no brainer. I don't have to talk about that one anymore, getting it up over to the 8.5. Now, the second one, there's going to be a lot of debate. And every show that I do with a bookmaker, I'm going to ask them the same question. Please explain to me how the hell you guys arrived at the line on the Detroit-Minnesota game. Because week after week, we keep hearing everybody badmouth Minnesota. They've got the worst point differential. They're a winning team, but their record should be this. Well, you know what? The record isn't what it should be. The record is what it is. And the Lions to be a 2.5-point favorite in this game is just ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying that the Lions can't win this game, but I'm saying I don't see them winning by double digits is what you have to get to lose this teaser. Teasing them up to 8.5. We're getting them over that key numbers, the 3, 4, 6, and 7. And yes, it's a high total, which means there should be a lot of points in this game. And we know the higher the total, the less value there are on those extra points. But we still have the Detroit Lions defense playing in this game, which means no matter what the score is at any point in this game, the back door would always be open. And if Minnesota gets a lead, they've got a running game with Cook. And if Cousins doesn't throw 4 picks, I don't see them getting blown out in this game. Take the Ravens, take the Vikings, tease them both up to 8.5, and just don't overthink it, Kelly.
What could go wrong? Me and Marco have the same teaser this week. Oh, my goodness. Joe Raineri, give me some 6-point favorite that you want to tease down to a pick 'em that's going to make me squirm. Last week in the Ravens, I had the Ravens tease, and I sat down there with Ariel, and I go, man, this did not get protected. I go, this game's going to land 1. I knew it from like before the game even kicked off, and that's what scares me about some of these. So I understand when it teases a 6-point dog down, just win the game. I just can't do it. There's something in my soul that says this is inherently wrong.
Well, yeah, no, it is on a number of levels, and I agree with Marco wholeheartedly. In fact, as soon as that line came out with Baltimore, I mean, you could have got them at +3 in the game, and I thought there was money line +3. They're going to be one of the more undervalued teams. The look-ahead line was 4.5 for the Ravens. You're telling me now that Lamar Jackson is not in, and you bring in the same guy that replaced him for 5 weeks last year, for 5 games there, is somehow any worse off? They play low-scoring games, and while, yes, his record wasn't great, Huntley last year when he replaced him, keep in mind, the defense the Ravens had last year versus the one they have this year, night and day. They were all one-score games. I don't see a whole lot of drop-off here once Huntley comes in. They're a running team. They're going to run with Huntley. They've already showed us they can do that. I think this is a huge overreaction. So anything over a touchdown in a game lined at 36.5, 37 is a no-brainer. The one I'm going to go with here is you might want to throw up a little bit and hold your nose, but I am going with Arizona. And I'm going to tease them up to over a touchdown, 7.5 in this one. I mean, I am sorry here, guys. There is nothing off, and I realize the Cardinals have a whole slew of issues going on there. But the idea that this offense of Belichick is somehow going to travel now on the road to Arizona, and the defense has come a long way here, mind you, of Arizona. It's about as one-dimensional of an offense as we have seen. The blueprint is there on how to beat this Patriots offense and cause problems. Whatever you think about Kyler Murray, and I'm not a Kyler Murray fan, but the guy is unpredictable. His ability to be able to get out of trouble is really, I think, what's going to separate them in this game. Getting the Cardinals at home over a touchdown, and they've been putrid at home, but you want to give me 7.5 points with them against an anemic Patriots offense? I think it's a low-scoring game as it is. I will take the Cardinals up and over a touchdown and pair them with the Baltimore Ravens here this week in this teaser.
Love it. I also tease them with the Ravens and the Vikings, just going all in since, you know, Marco, it's better to wait till the later parts of the season to tease. Anyway, not going to get mad at him again on this show. We're going to be nice to Marco. I need a quick commercial break to cool off here. Then we come back. We're going to figure out if the deli's open and if Joe's high or not high enough.
Do you want to bet this college football bowl season alongside Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels? Well, we have you covered. When you look among the list of our handicappers, some are known more for specific sports, and when you mention college football, two that jump out are Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels. Mr. Dave Koken has been the all-time profit leader in college football since he joined WagerTalk, and while the regular seasons have been profitable, his performance in the bowls have been even better, going 45-22-1. That's 67%. Ralph Michaels was a previous general manager of Phil Steele Publications, voting on all significant college football awards, including the Heisman Trophy, before joining WagerTalk. Ralph's run and bowl action has been stellar, going 44-20. That's 69%. Our bowl package price will be $199 with the $149 early bird. You can lock in Dave and Ralph's both for only $198, coming out to just $99 each. That's Dave's 68% and Ralph's 69% bowl records, including any 5% best bets released in bowl season for just $198. Access will cover any college football releases from the Bahama Bowl on Friday, December 16th, through the College Football Playoff National Championship game on Monday, January 9th, from both Ralph Michaels and Dave Koken, and include any 5% best bets. So act fast before pricing goes back to regular price.
Welcome back to Bet On It. I was going to go to Joe first because I'm still not sure if I'm happy with Marco, but the deli's back open and I'm a little hungry. So go ahead, Marco. You have the floor.
Well, Kelly, the deli may be open, but you may not want to eat what I'm going to put on the menu because the blue light special here, blue plate special, whatever you want to call it, is not a tasty one. We're going with the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, I did. I said it, Carolina. This is a perfect sandwich spot for us to look at with this one as we're taking a look at Seattle. What do you got here? You got Seattle coming off of division game against the Rams. Now, granted, the Rams are down, but they are still a division rival. They are still the defending Super Bowl champs. And what do you got on deck? Well, you got the other division monster for Seattle on deck, and that's the San Francisco 49ers, who right now are dealing with losing their second starting quarterback this season. This is a bad spot for Seattle, I think, to look ahead. And let's talk about Carolina. Sam Darnold, this is his team, whether you like it or not right now, and he got the job by default. There's nobody left that they can put in there, really. But in his first start, they got the win, 23-10. Granted, it was over offensively challenged Denver, but that is still a good Denver defense. They did put up 23 points. I like the fact that they're also coming off of a bye week. So you got Darnold back out there, shook the rust off of him, then had 2 weeks to fine-tune what you saw from that first game. I think this is a great spot for the Carolina Panthers. The one thing they have done this season is play defense at some times. Last 3 games, they held Denver to 10, Baltimore to 13, and Atlanta to 15. Granted, those are not world-beater offenses, but they are offenses that can score other than the Denver one. I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina. They get the win. Let's go Carolina 24-20, taking them plus the points and a little sprinkle as well.
Seems like those gross sandwiches, while might be hard to swallow, always seem to get the cash. Good luck, Marco, on taking a very ugly Carolina Panthers team. Joe, is Marco high?
No, I think we're high together because I like Carolina as well. But I'm gonna go with a game here where this is the quintessential. If it ain't broke, we ain't fixing it here, people. And we're going to Denver. And we're going to say that, 43 is just a tad too high for my taste, especially since Denver now is covering, I think, 11-1 to the under here now. They're on a ridiculous stretch. I mean, let's be realistic. We got a Denver offense right now that is so anemic that they are simply hoping to reach 10 points, and it's a good game for this offense right now. And I don't think this offense is all of a sudden going to show up in this game against Kansas City and be like, all right, we've been saving this 30-point performance. It ain't going to happen here. And as far as the Kansas City Chiefs go, in Denver, listen, Pat Mahomes in games that have been lined at 44 or below, he's 2-1 to the under. We already know that we're going to get divisional unders this year have been phenomenal. Divisional unders, when you have a home underdog of a touchdown or more, is even more profitable. There is nothing not to like about this Broncos offense, and there is nothing not to like about continuing to cash tickets on the under in every game they participate, even the ones against guys like Patrick Mahomes. 11-1 right now to the under here. And I got no problem, Cal, doing it one more time here and cashing another ticket. If it ain't broke, don't fix this. This offense is broke, guys, for the Broncos. They'd be lucky to get 10 points. I think this is 27-10 all day. I'm going with the under in this matchup.
Yeah, how can you not take the under here? Divisional under, home underdog. As I mentioned, I took the under. I took the over field goals because I was a little afraid of the under in Baltimore on Sunday, just because we know that the Ravens have shown some semblance of a high-powered offense this year. Not against that Broncos defense, though. And I'm with you, Joe. These divisional unders are 7 of them this weekend. I played all of them. A little excessive, but got to not cherry pick. Marco, I don't know why we're on the 3 box, because I was going to go right back to Joe and figure out what his favorite underdog this week was.
Oh, we're going dog? All right, doggy dog. Woof, woof. All right, so here we go, guys. This one, it's going to be it's a combination of a bit homerish, a bit I'm going to be there, and this is either going to be a fantastic weekend or it's going to be absolutely atrocious. But I am going with the Jets. Jets here. So, I get it with this Buffalo team, right? I love this Buffalo team. I have tickets on them to win the AFC East. I have tickets to win them to win the AFC, and of course the Super Bowl, right? They are, I think, that good, but they haven't been that level of good for about a month now, and we already saw what happened last time these two teams met. That game was a whole heck of a lot closer than Buffalo wanted, and we're going to be in Buffalo for this game. But say what you want about Mike White, the change here. This Jets team across every metric is much better offensively than anything Zach Wilson brought to the table. The Jets defense is no joke. We know that. Let us not forget the Jets should have beaten Minnesota in Minnesota. Buffalo lost to Minnesota on their own home field there. These two teams are not even remotely close to being 10 points apart. We're pricing Buffalo as if they're at that level of Super Bowl contender. They're not there yet. They have the potential, but I don't see it happening against a division rival right now that is playing so much better. Now that they have a quarterback they can trust to put up some points, the defense is going to cause all sorts of problems again for Josh Allen. Remember, they got out so quick in that game and everyone thought it was going to be a blowout. But you know what else happened in that first Jet game? It stayed under the 45.5, which I took as well. I do think the total's going to be lower, and I do think that if you can get 9.5 points with the Jets, you'd be crazy not to take them. Underdogs of 9 or more, 18-10 against the number this year, guys. 64%. The Jets are going to give the Bills all they can handle. They may not win, but they ain't getting blown out in this game either, so I'm taking the points.
Wait, you're not getting off that easy, Mr. Homer. This is a barking dog segment, and while I appreciate you picking a sizable dog, I didn't hear anything about a money line sprinkle.
Oh, that goes without saying. What are we, 13 weeks in the thing? It goes without saying.
I just wanted to clarify.
But I'm cashing one of those.
Clarify for our audience.
Just cashing
so we're talking
one
like we're talking like 2 units on the side, quarter unit on the money line. What are we doing here, Joe?
Oh, no. Splitting it right across the bar. I definitely think the 9.5 is money one way or the other, but I will equal that on the money line. I think there's no reason not to play both here. A divisional game.
He is
and
a homer, you guys.
Loss. Get it done.
No, we know these divisional underdogs on the road have been cruising this season, as well to the under. I did bet that under as well. Marco, just for the comment section, it's Marco Barco. I can't even say it with a straight face.
You just love that. Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Every week, Marco
I haven't used it
Barco.
in a couple weeks.
You know what?
But those
It's
guys
good.
like to
let them go in
drop
there
it.
and type it in there. It helps the algorithm. I'm all for it. And am I the only one that noticed that Mr. 30-minute man that always has first half wagers, because he's going to the game, I guess you're staying for the whole game, Joe? So you're going to give us a play on the game, full game selection?
Depends on what I'm looking at halftime. I may be back at the blackjack table
Marco,
by
read
the
the
third
Slack
quarter.
channel.
So I may be back at the casino by the third quarter. So it depends on how well it goes.
I didn't read Marco's Slack. Marco did not read Joe's Slack. Marco, can you say that for the best bet section, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, Kelly, you know what? Whenever I go into the Slack, I'm the first one there. So it's kind of lonely. There's nothing else to read because you guys all come in afterwards and I stole your play somehow. But okay. All right, let's go to that. Someday we'll teach these two how to read a timestamp. But what we've got for me is I'm going to go against the Cincinnati Bengals this week. And the Bengals were very good to me last week. How good? Well, they were my 5% play. Shameless plug number one. And we used them as that 5% play, and they got the money against Kansas City. And that's what sets this play up. Because for me, that game was what I like to call was the legitimizer. Now, you shouldn't need a legitimizer when you went to the Super Bowl last year, but everybody felt they were lucky to go to the Super Bowl last year, and it should have been Kansas City in the Super Bowl, but they caught Kansas City the perfect week after that Buffalo game in the playoffs last year. And granted, they did, and they had to listen to that all week as every talking head said, oh, Kansas City in revenge. Oh, Kansas City Mahomes never loses in the month of November or in December. Well, guess what? They did. And it was Cincinnati that did that. Now the market is overpriced. The market is buying into Cincinnati. They're for real. Public perception has this line at 6. I actually liked this game whenever it first opened at 4.5. And now I'm getting 6. I like it even better. And why not? Cleveland last week, Deshaun Watson returned. I didn't like Cleveland last week. They did get the money, but they didn't get it because of the offense. They got it because of the defense. Deshaun Watson did nothing last week. So why do I like him this week? Well, he needed to shake off the rust, and that's what I was looking last week. Thought that he would have a rough game. 1, the circumstances of going back to Houston for his first game. 2, being his first game in 2 years. Now he's got a game under his belt, and he will start to feel more comfortable as the weeks pass. We still have a Cleveland Brown offense that can run the football well. And as they run the football, they will open up the passing game even more. One thing they got to do, though, is they got to put Deshaun Watson under center more. You can't have that play-action threat from the running game when you're in the shotgun. It just doesn't work as well. But this Cincinnati defense can be had. The Cincinnati team's got to be feeling all fat and sassy. And I'm going to go ahead and look at Division Road Dog. As Kelly said, these have been great over the last several years. And one angle that's been even better, I reached out to Mr. Stat Daddy about it, is that when you're taking a divisional road dog and they actually won the first meeting, everybody's looking and thinks about revenge and would want to jump on the home favorite. Don't do it. Division road dog, if you won the first meeting, how about 23-11 since 2019. That's 67% against the spread. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Cleveland. And yes, we're calling for the outright win. So we will have a little sprinkle on Cleveland, and I'm taking them plus the 6.
I like the Browns, Marco. That was almost my best bet. But before we get to best bets, we got to go to Prop Shop with Ariel, and we got a special guest today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed, and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
Welcome in to Prop Shop. We've got a special guest today. Shout out to Andy Lang. He has a 5% play up on WagerTalk right now. Hope he had a successful surgery this morning. If you guys didn't see on Twitter, he did have retina surgery, so hopefully he doesn't come back looking like Dave Koken. But he might. We'll see how that looks out next week. But we got Mid-Major Matt filling in from sportsmemo.com at Mid-Major Matt. Matt, we've got a special promo because, well, you're filling in for us. So over at sportsmemo.com right now, you can get Matt's all-access prop package for NFL Sunday, just $1. That's right, Matt. The prop, if Ariel's a prop queen, I guess we'll call you the prop king of Sports Memo. He is on Prop It Up on Fridays on WagerTalk. Also fills in on the college basketball show on Mondays. Welcome in, Mid-Major Matt.
Big shoes to fill here. Andy's the man, but I'm going to try and do my best. Thank you.
Absolutely. So how it works is we know the prop market is a little delayed, and it is Wednesday afternoon. So I'm going to ask you at the end of the segment for a Thursday night football best bet. But before we get there, NFL Sunday, it's week 14. We're diving deep here, trying to find out some angles. What are you looking at for this week in the NFL?
Well, as we like to do on Prop It Up, I'm kind of the Eagles guy, and this week for the Eagles, I feel like it's going to be a Miles Sanders week. The Giants are one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, and the other thing that I kind of look at when it comes to the books, the first half scoring, once again, they've put up a number of 12.5 for the Eagles in the first half. For those who are not familiar, the Eagles are the number one first half scoring offense in the league, 18.8 points per first half. They're coming off a score in 21 against the Tennessee Titans. They're not as good on the road, so certainly over a 12.5 is something I'm definitely going to look at. Another team that you want to look at in the first half coming up this weekend is the Detroit Lions. The Lions have one of the biggest disparities in football when it comes to first half scoring. They're averaging over 17 points per first half at home. Their number below that magic number of 14.5. So certainly you want to take a look at the Lions to start fast. Obviously, the market loves the Lions this weekend, and the Minnesota Vikings are one of the luckiest teams in the league. So sometimes you may not necessarily want to take the whole team, whole game team totals. Take a look at the first halves. The Eagles and the Lions present some value on Sunday.
Oh, I love that, Matt. There's just so much to unpack with the new world of sports betting. There's so many plethoras of options, and I'm still over here just playing NFL sides. Ariel Epstein, the prop queen at Ariel Epstein on Twitter. What are you looking at for this weekend?
I'm looking at some pass attempts props. You can get some really good matchups by looking at quarterbacks that may have shorter spreads and also up against defenses that allow for a lot of pass attempts. Now, one of these examples, going back to the game Matt just mentioned, was this Detroit Lions game against the Minnesota Vikings. Saw the line flip in favor of the Lions, which is very bizarre considering the Vikings are the way better team and about to clinch a playoff spot. However, if you're going to look at this game being potentially close with a 2.5 point spread, the Lions as home favorites, look to how many pass attempts the Vikings allow per game. They're allowing just over 37 pass attempts to quarterbacks. That's the second most in the league. The most is by the Titans, and I'm not looking at that game yet because the Jaguars quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, is questionable. However, Detroit's quarterback, Jared Goff, and his over on pass attempts is something I'm going to look at. Goff averages just below 34 pass attempts a game, and now Minnesota, who allows the 7th least rushing yards per game, is going to go up against this Lions offense that really doesn't have too good of a run game to begin with. And now you're going to force Goff to throw because your secondary is worse than your run defense. So I'm going to go and bet the over potentially on Jared Goff and his pass attempts. 3 other quarterbacks you could keep a lookout for. I'm not going to get too wordy and go through all the reasons why, but I'll have it up on Twitter later this week. Mac Jones, Russell Wilson, and Kenny Pickett all have other good matchups against defenses that allow for top 5 most pass attempts to quarterbacks, Cal.
Ooh, always such good stuff that I just can't even, my brain just doesn't even equate. Always love it from you guys.
You hit a prop this weekend. You hit a prop.
Yeah, only because I like the under. Didn't really want to bet the under, and I knew the Broncos were completely allergic to the red zone. Brandon McManus came through 3 field goals. Ariel's team still gets the win, gets that 4th field goal for me. I just mean like player props. Like this is just so in depth, and I'm just always so amazed by what you guys are able to do. Andy Lang, best bet, Thursday Night Football. That's right. He's taking Devontae Adams over 89.5 receiving yards. Mid-major Matt, I need your best bet.
So mine's not up yet, but it will be. It'll certainly be up by Thursday. We know the books are delayed for some reason. One of the kickers up. The other kicker is the one that I'm kind of focused in on here. I'm going over 1.5 field goals for Daniel Carlson. That's the kicker for the Las Vegas Raiders. Carlson's had multiple field goals in all but 2 games so far this season. The Rams are 27th, allowing 2.1 field goals per game, 2.7 in their last 3 contests. Thursday nights have been a field goal fest quite often this season. And certainly he's going to feel at home. He's indoors, so I don't think there's going to be as much of a worry. Give me over 1.5 field goals for Daniel Carlson in this game between the Raiders and the Rams.
Oh, that's an interesting one as well. This is fun. I'm enjoying this segment. Matt filling in for Andy Lang. Ariel Epstein, talk to me. Give me your best bet for Thursday Night Football.
Best bet for Thursday Night Football. Going back to a prop that I lost, unfortunately, last week. If he loses again, I'm out on him. Rams running back Kyren Williams over 11.5 receiving yards. Yes, that's receiving yards for a running back. Darrell Henderson got traded to Jacksonville, so now Williams is going to be your pass catching back. Williams, he's been known for this since college at Notre Dame. He's shifty. He's able to catch balls out of the backfield, a good route runner, get separation. And Las Vegas is allowing the most receiving yards to running backs in the league at just under 56 receiving yards per game allowed to the position. Even though Williams only had 1 target last week, could see it being this every other week thing, which is what it has been. He went over this 1 week, then didn't the next, went over it the next week, didn't the next, etc. The question here is really just who's the quarterback for Los Angeles. And if it's John Wolford if it's John Wolford, he's questionable right now, then I still like this for the over 11.5 receiving yards for Kyren Williams.
All right, Ariel Epstein at Ariel Epstein on Twitter. Mid-Major Matt at Mid-Major Matt. Andy Lang at Bump Sports. When we come back, it's time for Best Bets.
First time tuning into WagerTalk TV? How would you like a one-day all-access Picks Pass for only $1? Well, we have you covered. Bet On It gets 100,000 plus downloads, views, and listens each and every week across all platforms. From YouTube to Spotify, from Apple TV to iHeartRadio. So there's a good chance this is the first time you're tuning in, and an even better chance that you have not experienced the professional handicappers at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. And we want to change that. Whether you're new to sports betting or just tired of the game of the year and 100-unit locks, we have you covered. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys, as you won't find that here. As the most popular show on WagerTalk TV, we'd like to offer all Bet On It viewers that have not made a purchase at WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo.com this special offer. Use coupon WIN1 on a $39 one-day all-access pass and get it for only $1. So to all first-time users, just use coupon code WIN1 to get your first ever purchase at WagerTalk or SportsMemo for only $1. And welcome to the family.
Welcome back to Bet On It. It's now time for Best Bets. I'm going to get right into it. Giants +7. Pretty sure the look ahead line here was 2.5. Well, what have we seen since then? That's right. The Eagles got off to a completely hot 8-0 start. And, well, they do have the best record, for now anyway. We'll see. This Giants team has been really scrappy. I really like what Brian Dable has done with them. Plus, you got a little TNA nugget there from Ralph. So if you missed that one, scroll back. I think what we see here is New York running the ball down their throats. We got some Barkley. We got some Jones. Now, we know that the Giants have some injuries on the wide receiver front, but that kind of makes me think that they're going to lean on that running game even more. Hopefully we don't get in a shootout here, but as you guys know, I played all those divisional unders. I think we're going to see a hard-fought game. I would love to say Giants money line here, but Philadelphia 15-1 as their last 16 as a favorite. The good news is, though, just 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 road games. Give me New York as a touchdown underdog, and if you guys are at the game, hit me up. We will be there cheering really hard for the boys in blue. Marco D'Angelo, week 14 in the NFL. Who is your best bet?
Well, Kelly, you're the only person that takes somebody to the game to see their team and root against them, but that's okay. Poor Dan on Sunday. I'm going to go to the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, they lost Jimmy G. This is the classic injured player theory. And we're catching Tampa Bay on a short week, traveling cross country to play this game. And did you watch the Monday night game? Outside of those final 2 drives late in the game, Tom didn't look good at all. And that was not against the best defense in the NFL and the Saints. This week, he's going to be facing a 49er defense that has been solid all year. Number 1 in points allowed, number 4 in yards per play allowed. And then on the offensive side of it, the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers, they're 23rd this year in points scored, just 18.1 points per game, and they're 27th at yards per play. It's going to be a long afternoon for Tom Brady, and that defense will be even more fired up because they've got to compensate for the loss of Jimmy G. So enter Brock Purdy. He saw him when he was at Iowa State. At times looks very good. At times looks very mediocre. But really, he's got a good supporting cast. All he's got to do is not turn the football over, and I feel they win this game. And he came into the game cold last week in running the game plan that was designed for Jimmy G. This week, it'll be a game plan for him. He'll get all the snaps during the week with the first unit. And as far as Tampa goes, they got a short week to prepare for a quarterback they haven't seen. Now, you could say, well, they're going to look at the film from last week. What they did with him last week is not going to be what they're going to do with him this week. They'll have a game plan suited for Brock's strengths. And we don't know what that is yet because he hadn't played in the NFL till last week. Go ahead, take the 49ers, lay the points. And, oh, by the way, we talk about that 49er defense. Here's a little gem for you. If they've allowed less than 100 yards rushing in 3 consecutive weeks, guess what they are in the next week? How about 9-1 against the spread? I'll ride the defense in the injured player theory. Give me the 49ers as my best bet for the show. I'm calling it 49ers 24-13.
All right, Marco, let's see what Mr. Irrelevant can do for you. Speaking of irrelevant, Joe Raineri. Oh, sorry. That was a joke for Marco. Sorry, I'm never supposed to be mean to Joe on the show. I just broke character.
No, that's good.
So
All right.
sorry.
Damn, I was like, wait, did she say Marco? No, that's fine. So here's what we've got going on, guys, because I'm going to piggyback off of Kelly's best bet, and I think these two things are correlated. I'm going to go with the under in this Philadelphia and New York Giants game. Listen, I don't think it's a secret here, guys, that the New York Giants have been absolutely money to the under here, especially Daniel Jones, especially at home, guys. All the numbers point that offensively, this is not a team that's going to drop 35 points on anybody, especially a Philadelphia defense that did a pretty good job against the run last week, didn't they? We also know that Philadelphia loves to run the ball. We also know that Philadelphia in the second half of games is one of the slowest teams in the NFL, usually because they have a lead and they milk the clock for everything it's worth. They don't hike the ball till it's down to about 1 second on the play clock. They try and shorten the game up as best as possible in the second half, not allowing teams to be able to make up the difference. I don't see anything changing in this one here. I think when you've got a home dog of over a touchdown, we already know about these divisional unders. It's been well documented, guys, and I think the only chance for the Giants in this game is to keep this a one-score game. That means this total, I think, is going to be way under the 45 that it opened. It's now down to 44.5, and yeah, it's still going to go, and I don't care. I still like the under in this matchup here. I think the Giants cover along with Kelly, and I think the under is in play. If you bet one, you should probably bet the other.
I take back all the mean things I said about you, Joe. Let's cash some best bets this weekend. It's been a nice run over the last few weeks. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it all up for you guys.
First time tuning into WagerTalk TV? How would you like a one-day all-access picks pass for only $1? Well, we have you covered. Bet On It gets 100,000 plus downloads, views, and listens each and every week across all platforms. From YouTube to Spotify, from Apple TV to iHeartRadio. So there's a good chance this is the first time you are tuning in, and an even better chance that you have not experienced the professional handicappers at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. And we want to change that. Whether you are new to sports betting or just tired of the game of the year and 100-unit locks, we have you covered. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys, as you won't find that here. As the most popular show on WagerTalk TV, we would like to offer all Bet On It viewers that have not made a purchase at WagerTalk.com or SportsMemo.com this special offer. Use coupon WIN1 on a $39 one-day all-access pass and get it for only $1. So to all first-time users, just use coupon code WIN1 to get your first ever purchase at WagerTalk or Sports Memo for only $1. And welcome to the family.
Week 14 recap. Let's get into it. Las Vegas at the Rams. Under 44.5 for Marco. And Joe's taking the easy way out. He said tease Las Vegas. That sounds absolutely terrifying. Sunday night got flexed into the spot because the Broncos suck. Miami at the LA Chargers. Joe said, well, he's going to take the first half under, but he agrees with Marco. This game is ultimately going to go over the total of 52. Teasers, we're all in agreement. I teased Baltimore, Arizona, and Minnesota, 2-team 6-point teasers for the team. Marco's got the deli open. He said Carolina. While it's disgusting, these are the ones that win for us. Are you high? Joe's taking some divisional unders here. Kansas City, Denver, under 43. We got some barking dogs that both have an opportunity to cash on the money line. Cleveland +6, which I agree with. Ooh, and Joe, I don't know if I agree with this one. New York Jets +9.5. We'll see. I do like the under there as well. Best bets for me, I'm taking the Giants under. And Joe said, don't overthink it. Take it under, Giants +7. Joe says, don't overthink it. Take the total under 44.5 in that one. And Marco said, don't worry about Mr. Irrelevant. Lay the points -3.5. You guys, we love you. It's week 14. Dropping Marco Barcos in the comments. Now you can call Joe Mr. Irrelevant. God knows what you say about me because I don't want to read them. But anything you say is appreciated because it helps our algorithm. Make sure you guys subscribe. Hit that like button. Give us some love. Give us some hate. And hopefully we cash some more teasers because Marco waited until week 14 to tell me that we played him to, whatever. I'm not getting into this again. Wednesday, we're going to be back. Monday night, we've got the Pats. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens there. Pats, Cardinals, Monday Night Football. Woof. Woof. How's that a game? How's that a game we have to watch? But we'll be back talking about it on Monday. And then we'll be back Wednesday with some college football bowl games because Marco's got a nice package up for sale. And, of course, some TNA, some Prop Shop, Ariel, and maybe Andy Lang will be back for this one, doing his best Dave Koken impression. Till then, let's bet on it.